for talent. LSU going hard, but we beat Alabama, then we going out to Florida. Drown the Gators, everybody getting bucked when we step in the stadium. This the LSU anthem, you know it's a hit. You don't know another rapper two-step like this. See me screaming out the window, yelling purple and gold. I'm an LSU fan, girl, you know how we roll now. Back and back it on up. Hey, 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 way down in the back.
TA, we are live here in the Tigers Avenue Friday night. Obviously, a little bit different setup, Zach, because I'm present here with you in Southaven, Mississippi. Have some business to attend to here this weekend. So, doing the show together here, Zach. How you feeling on this fantastic Friday night?
I'm excited because I am no longer working. So I'm excited to be here, excited to discuss all this LSU news. Unfortunately, we have kind of some I would call it annoying news, maybe disappointing news that we have to discuss here at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, it is some disappointing news. I'm trying to figure out how I can mute that while you're talking so we don't have any back play there. But I have my sound off, so I don't know why it's doing that. So I apologize, everyone. I'll try to work on figuring out how to get that to stop while Zach's talking so we don't have any back and forth there. Yeah, some disappointing news, indeed. Unfortunately, you know, the stuff we talked about last week has to be brought up again. But it is what it is, and we'll discuss it.
And new stuff.
And some new stuff that has developed that I don't know, Zach. I don't know what to think about it. I don't know what to make of it. But we'll discuss it. Some stuff went down last night on social media and whatnot with Brian Kelly and his spouse. So we will get to that as well. Obviously, tonight we're going to discuss the South Carolina LSU game that is going down in Columbia this Sunday. More important than the Super Bowl, in my opinion. More important than the Super Bowl.
I agree.
Just what I think. That's my personal opinion. I think most people in Louisiana and most LSU fans would agree that to us, we care a little bit more about this game than the Super Bowl, maybe. So, and we might talk about the Super Bowl briefly. Maybe it's not as exciting, but it is what it is. So Zach, the court stuff, with the name of the court, obviously, Board of Supervisors met. The issue was renaming it to Dale Brown Sue Gunter Court. A lot of people had problems with it because they felt it was like it was a little bit disrespectful to Dale. You gave it to him, and a year later, you brought him out onto the court. You revealed his name in front of a sold-out crowd. You know, I get where some people are coming from, but I feel like all this is a little bit too much. Like, I don't understand the, I don't know, drama around it, Zach. Like, I don't get it. You're honoring one guy. What does it matter?
I think that the reason there's been such a big fuss about it is that one side has, pushed heavily for their name also to be included. And I think that's a reason why there has been this back and forth and two-sided thing going on. And obviously there was discussion of removing Dale Brown's name, which we obviously opposed and we're completely against. And luckily, we discussed last week that we wanted to see a dual name court. If you're going to honor both of them, then do both. Don't take one away after you just did all that you did for him, Dale Brown, and then do everything for Sue Gunter. Like, it doesn't make any sense to do that whatsoever. The only thing that made sense for this situation was either to leave it as it is. You honor Dale Brown, so leave it as it is. He's done a lot for the program. As you mentioned last week, he hasn't done anything to hurt or damage LSU and his name. And so why would you remove his name? So the logical thing would be to add to Sue Gunter and honor her. And we even mentioned it didn't have to be the court. It could be something different, honoring a facility after her or whatever. And so they have decided that this is the route that they are going to go. They are going to have a jointly named, I don't know if I said that right, jointly, they're going to have the court named by both of them. And so, that's what we are looking for with this vote. And as y'all can tell, Reagan is trying to figure out his situation. So all good. Reagan, I think if you just go in another room, you'll be fine. That'll be good. So as Reagan transitions to another room, as y'all forgive us as Reagan is transitioning, he is normally at his house doing the podcast in his room or whatever. So he's here tonight. We didn't have it set up to where we were both on one camera, so he is joining separately. Look, so I mean, me and Reagan have reiterated this a lot with this situation. I honestly don't care. If you're not winning ball games, then what's the point, right? I am all for sharing the honor between Sue and Dale Brown. To be blunt, neither one of them brought us a championship. And I don't see why there is so much fuss over these two individual names being honored when, quite frankly, there is other people at LSU that have had more success and have meant more to LSU and have done more for LSU than these two people. And that seems harsh and it seems blunt, but that's just the fact of the matter. So I really don't care, to be honest, about the court name. All I care about is who's on the court, who's playing the court, and how they're doing. And I know that sounds harsh, but that's all I care about, yeah, honestly. And maybe there's others that care more. I mean, me and you, Reagan, we don't really bother with it as much.
Okay. Am I in? I just need to make sure I'm in.
Yes, you are in. You're good.
Okay.
For our viewers, we apologize for that. Reagan was having to get everything technically situated, but we're good now. Reagan, I've just been saying I really don't care, and honestly, I appreciate and really love what Dale Brown and Sue Gunter have done for LSU, but I don't see what the massive fuss is over it, because neither one of them have brought national championship. I mean, they've brought success, but there's other people at LSU that have brought more success and have a greater significance to LSU than these two individuals. And there's this much fuss over it. So I honestly don't care. All I care about is who's playing on the court, who's coaching on the court, and how are they doing.
Yeah, I mean, I got to agree with you. I don't see the big deal about it. I mean, I get you want to honor the guy and you don't want to, I don't know the word, like dilute that in any way.
Yeah.
I get it. But I don't see a problem in honoring both. And I've seen it a lot lately. And I got to agree, Zach, like it may not be long until it may be a discussion. We might need to rename it to Kim Mulkey Court. Like, it may not be that long until that happens. So I don't know in the grand scheme of things if it really matters. I mean, just being honest.
I'm with you.
But I don't see any problem with it. You've honored Dale Brown. You'll honor Sue Gunter. Move forward. What does it matter? I get like where they're coming from, but I don't think it's as important or that big an issue that they're drumming it up this much. Like people are going back and forth, and somebody asked Kim Mulkey about it, and she essentially was like, it may be better for Bob Starkey to come and comment on it because he coached with both of them, So I don't see a problem with it. Their names are on the court. It looks like that's where it's headed. But maybe some of the people in the chat can give us their thoughts on that. I mean, I don't know, but for me, all I care about is what's happening currently.
Yeah.
And we have an undefeated women's team right now who's playing the number one team in the country Sunday. And we care a little bit more about that than the name of the court, to be quite honest. So
why allow something like this to dilute what is going on?
I'll tell you what
is actually going on the court right now?
I'll tell you what, Zach, what we have learned, I mean, in recent years is the Baton Rouge media. I just it is so toxic. Good grief. What does it matter? Anyways. So some more, Zach, on Baton Rouge media.
Good grief.
Last night. It's just embarrassing. That's what I think it looks like. All of this is embarrassing for LSU, and I don't think it does any good for LSU.
No, it does nothing positive for LSU. No. LSU fans, we complain about how there is a national narrative that is mostly negative towards LSU and biased against LSU. But a lot of the damage is done to ourselves. And as you mentioned, some of that has to do with the media in Baton Rouge, just shedding light in areas that really don't need to be shed. And I get it. If you're in the media, that's a part of your duty is reporting and journaling, journalism. I mean, I was in the journalism department in college for a couple of years. I completely understand that, but there is other things that you can do in journalism besides report things that are negative and only hurt the brand. It doesn't make any sense to me. I understand reporting big things, when a coach is fired, obviously you have to report that. When an important player, is dealing with an off the field situation, it can be reported, but we see a lot of times where, there isn't details in depth that are shared per the media. Now, obviously, things are found out through other sources outside of the media. Obviously, we know this from this past, from this offseason with Kayshon Boutte. Yeah. Something happened off the field that was relating to a star player. There wasn't great details shared at all in the media. There were things that were passed around. That's fine. I think that's a way to do it. But
yeah.
There is a lot in journalism. There's a lot of places that you can go to find content. There's a lot of avenues that you can chase to get content. I think the court, while it is something that needs to be reported, I think, and I don't think, Baton Rouge media has necessarily made the court situation a bad situation. I think people from both parties have made it this way. But when it comes to what happened last night with BK getting divorced and it being reported that BK was intending to divorce his wife after being married 28 years, listen, that doesn't, you don't need to get into details on that. And I understand why some people would want to know, But listen, you're dealing with a human being who has a life outside of your viewing pleasure, right? And some things
Absolutely.
are needed to be kept personal. Um, Obviously, with me, I have dealt with some of that situation, and that kind of hits close to home for me. I was in a situation where I was in a position of prominence, and I promise you, it wasn't fun to be in that situation and having all of that known and going about it. And from what we understand, there was a court document that had been filed, that Brian Kelly had initiated a desire to divorce his wife. They reconciled and have planned to since remove that documentation. Okay, great. That should be personal. Like, if it had gone final, I understand like it being reported, but the fact that it was reported and it had not gone finalized, that's my problem with the situation. Why are you reporting on something that has not been finalized? That is one of the key factors in reporting, in journalism, is fact checking, making sure that this is confirmed, and you report something that was spotty at best. Immediately after it's reported, you have the kids coming back and going, nope, nope, everything's fine. And maybe there was issues, but they had worked on it to reconcile. And now you just shed bad light on something that had been resolved. That was completely unnecessary to report. Again, I get it, being in journalism and being reporting. I just think sometimes we need to be held to higher standards.
Yeah, I don't. I get that Brian Kelly, with the position that he has, puts himself in the public eye, and there's no question about that. But it doesn't have to go like we don't have to get in the man's marriage or involved with his kids or anything like that. I just don't like the way that was approached, the way it was reported. I mean, I agree with everything that you said. I don't see personally. I don't see the reason, regardless, like final or not. Like, what does it matter that he is getting a divorce or having marital problems? Like, that's a personal issue, and
Reagan, are you there?
am I back in?
Yes, you're back in.
So I hate it for him that, maybe something was going on between him and his wife. Personally, I hate that for him. And I hope that what was said is true, that they've reconciled and things are okay. I hope that for him on a personal level. But when it comes to him being a coach, has nothing to do with it.
No.
Like, has absolutely nothing to do with it whatsoever.
And people are going to say, Reagan, well, it affects his coaching. Okay.
I mean, maybe so. And it probably could, you know what I mean? I think what it is, Zach, I mean, if you want me to be brutally honest, what it is LSU just went through what they went through with Ed Orgeron, and it was so bad and so ugly. And that was one of the things is he divorced his wife. Now you're seeing pictures with him with young women everywhere, and it was a PR disaster. Like, it became, to the point where it was like casting a bad image on the university. Like, what he was doing was casting a bad image on the football program, on the university. Like, and we also had sexual misconduct issues going on as well at the university that needed to be resolved. And, all of that stacked together with Ed Orgeron getting a divorce and posting pictures with women and whatnot, like all this, like, that's a horrible thing. And so the immediate reaction of the media when they hear Brian Kelly's getting a divorce probably stems from that. And I get that. But again, you don't hold that over Brian Kelly's head, because what happened with Ed Ordron happened with Ed Ordron. What happened with Brian Kelly and his wife has nothing to do with that. And we've got to be able to make a divide there, to separate the two instances, and not put light onto something that may not need it. So the way that was handled, I think, was really bad. And again, like majority, I'm if I'm speaking out of turn, correct me if I'm wrong, but majority of Baton Rouge media are LSU fans and care about the football program and want them to win and be successful. And guys, if you want to bring good recruits in and you want your football program to be good, don't report things that are to hurt the image of your program, especially if it's personal and has nothing to do with the actual football program.
And it wasn't received well by the recruits. I don't know if you saw, but there was a few recruits last night that tweeted about it, and they were like, "Hey, this is not it." Like,
I know Tavion Galloway did.
Tavion Galloway was like, "Hey, like, you shouldn't be reporting this."
Yeah.
First off, you're wrong. They weren't. I mean, per court documents, they weren't wrong, but they were not. Obviously, the situation had been worked out, and they were wrong in the fact that it was reported. And again,
Yep.
I reiterate this. I understand, like, as a reporter, your job is to report good and bad, right? But man, I don't know. For me, journalism, when you start to get into the fabric of people's lives and the secrecy or the I don't know what I'm trying to say here. The privacy of people's lives. Yes, thank you. That starts to become an issue. So for me, I don't like it. I think there's better things and more positive things that can be reported.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree. But it is what it is. They reported it. I think it really sucks that they reported it, because now that's out there. And for a while now, everybody's going to speculate about it. You put something out there like that, everybody's going to speculate about it. I mean, we are speculating. I mean, that's literally what we're doing here on our show, because it came out. And if that doesn't come out, we're not discussing that.
Yeah.
I'd rather be discussing other things. But we're discussing a battle about a name on a court between two people who did good things for LSU. So why does it matter that both their names are on the court? And we're also discussing the fact that a news station is reporting that Brian Kelly is getting a divorce, and his kids are on Twitter saying, it's not true. It's just more negative light. So these things like happen and we react to them. And I feel like we don't have to do things and report certain things in the way that we do. And I don't know. We drum stuff up way more than it needs to, and we bring stuff up, honestly, that we don't need to as well. And I hate that's what happened, but it is the reality of the situation. I am so tired, though, of getting reports like this. I'm just sick of it. Like, I feel like every month or every other
quarter,
some like negative light cast. I mean, last month, or maybe it was the month before that, we're getting reports about this scandal within the football program, and Booty is Keyshawn Booty is leaving, and I'm drawing a blank on her name. Is it Destiny Wilson? Destiny Wilson and Corey Phillips, they're all exiting the program. And why are we always talking about this stuff? And there were people who were mentioned in those reports that were not involved. That were not at all. And that hurts their personal life. And I mean, if Destiny Wilson and them were involved, they did what they did. But this report, you go back and look at Destiny Wilson's Twitter. She's like, this has like destroyed me. Like, regardless if it happened or not, it's none of our business. Like, it was handled within the football program. If it happened, they removed them. Move on. Like, move on. And other names get brought up, like Cortez Hankton and was it J.R. Belton, who are still on the staff. So, like, we're messing with people's personal lives at this point. So I'm sick of that continually happening, and I want it to stop.
Well, there is in this world there. I mean, we're getting deep tonight on the LSU on the Tigers Avenue podcast. In this world, I don't know why, but there is a desire for like toxicity, and there is a desire to be petty. I don't know why, but there is a great desire in people's lives to do this, and they love it and they feed off of it. And for me, I don't like it. I don't think it, because as you said, it is damaging to people's lives. What is worth a day, a week, a month of some clicks or some popularity when it is potentially damaging people's lives?
Yeah.
Right? That it's not worth it.
No, it's not. It's not. And I think we need to move forward from it, but I think everybody knows where we stand on it. At this point, we think it's ridiculous. Just stop reporting on personal things. Let's strive to, as a media, an area who love the LSU Tigers, to report positively about them. Is there going to be negative things that have to be reported? Absolutely. That's just reality. But some of the things are unnecessary.
Hey, I want more of the stories like we're hearing about Paul Skeens honoring our military. And I want more stories of Thatcher Hurd honoring families in need in Baton Rouge.
NIL money,
donating his NIL money. Like that, those are the stories we need in the media. Those are more of the stories we need in the media.
Absolutely. But anyways, we'll see how it all plays out. And, whatever they decide, the board of supervisors at LSU, or I don't know how the whole process works. They've approved it, but it has to go to someone else for a vote. So we'll see how that plays out. And as of right now, I ain't going to say nothing else about Brian Kelly and his family and that whole thing.
Respect them. Leave it alone.
We respect his privacy, and I think we should all move forward from that. Zach, we got a lot of comments, I see. We need to probably get to some comments, Zach. I know there's a bunch of people commenting on the issues and whatnot.
Yeah, Tyler said, "What's up, guys? Good to have Tyler. I love having Tyler in here. Tyler, I've never met you, but I really hope maybe you go to a baseball game or something. I want to meet Tyler."
Yeah, Tyler consistently in here. Appreciate you.
Adrian Parker says the booty thing was made up. Yeah, a lot of it was. Sad. Ryan said nobody has respect for people's families. It's not just about LSU, but in society in general. Yes,
very true.
Exactly what I was saying. And prayers for them and the family, if this even is true.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, Zach, I think we can move to the next segment. What do we care about the Super Bowl? I'm going to watch it.
Do we care about it, honestly, though?
Do I care enough to make even a prediction about it? Not really. So
I'm going for the Eagles. I hope they beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, because they beat the Bengals. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I get that.
They hurt Joey B and put him out. So I hope they suffer in misery.
I'll say this, and this will be the only thing I say on it, is I do think the Eagles will win. I think they're going to beat the Chiefs.
They got a better defense, and their offense is humming right now.
Yeah, so that's that. All right, moving on to a more important game, Sunday. A little bit. I mean, Zach, this may be game of the year.
It
is game of the year.
Outside of the tournament, this will be the regular game of the season.
I mean, I have to.
It's for sure the game, the biggest game in the SEC season.
Oh, no question.
No question. I mean, there was some massive games that have occurred. Indiana played Iowa last night and won. Of course, South Carolina played UConn earlier in the season and won. Those are massive games. And the pollsters robbed us of 1 versus 2.
Oh,
I think it was a complete slight to LSU and what they have accomplished to leave them at number 3 while other teams have lost games. And it really needs to be, it really is number 1 versus number 2, in my opinion. Ryan said should be a 1 versus 2 matchup. Completely agree.
That's what I was about to get to. Is it should be 1 versus 2.
Yeah.
So Zach, I get. So the idea is that it's strength of schedule, right? The non-conference, which Kim Mulkey commented on this earlier in the year. Everybody was like, why is your non-conference schedule so soft? Like,
she hasn't been able to. She just got in the program.
Exactly. She said, it's my second year, and we just had to remake the team essentially. Because we had a veteran team last year of players, and she did great with them. And then we had to restart essentially. I think the only returnee that's a contributor at least is Morris. So she was like, we don't even know what we had coming in, and how it was all going to play out and work. So we needed a schedule that was going to suit a learning process. Obviously, the team is far better than, I wouldn't say far better than expected, but are exceeding maybe the expectations for year 2. So
they did it year 1, they're doing it in year 2.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and she's like, once we realize we've established a program, I honestly still think she's just trying to establish a foundation, because obviously what she's going through right now is what our football program went through, what our men's basketball program is going through, our women's basketball program is going through it, a restart essentially through the transfer portal. But we want to build our teams off of recruiting classes, and that's going to take a little while. So as that continues to happen, the strength of schedule with non-conference will get better. But guys, we're the only 2 undefeated teams. It's 23-0, I think, versus 24-0 or 22-0.
That's correct. 24-0 South Carolina versus 23-0 LSU.
Come on. Are you serious? It's not 1 versus 2. I'm drawing a blank on who's between us. I know they only have
Indiana.
Indiana, that's right. They have the 1 loss. So do they deserve to be in the top 3? Sure. But come on. We're undefeated, and we're undefeated in conference play.
Yeah.
And we're about to go play South Carolina. Let that decide it. Anyways, but it's solely based off of the strength of schedule issue. That's all it is, but it is what it is. So Zach, little preview. What are your initial thoughts for this game going into it Sunday?
Well, I don't know if you watched AYS last night, but I gave a lot of stats that I actually just came up with myself and did some mathing and came up with some stats. Okay. And thanks to our buddy Kenny for helping me get those stats.
Awesome.
But when we've talked about this, just from an outsider looking in, I have assumed that our bench was deeper than South Carolina's, because when you look at the season as a whole, LSU is overall in points per game, they are outscoring South Carolina. LSU averages about 87 points per game. South Carolina averages about 82 points per game. And so because of that, and because of, the difference we have this year in a deeper bench, I was thinking, okay, LSU starters are getting there, South Carolina starters are getting in there. And then, once they're pulling away from teams, they're putting in their benches, and their benches, between the benches, that's where we see that difference. And that's why LSU has a greater point margin this season. So I was assuming because of that we have a deeper bench. Actually, it's quite the opposite once you actually look at the math and get really deep into the numbers. So I looked at it, Reagan, and overall in the year, LSU has scored the most points in total. I think it was like 1,918 points for LSU, and for South Carolina, it was like 1,800 and something points for them. So LSU overall has outscored South Carolina on the season. That's why they're averaging obviously more points. But when you look at the numbers, South Carolina's bench is outscoring LSU's bench by almost 500 points.
Woo!
So where are all the points coming from for LSU? It's their starters. LSU's starters are outscoring South Carolina's starters by almost 500 points. I think right at it or close to it. It's insane, bro. So the biggest thing for me in this matchup, are they going to be able to handle the hostile environment going on the road?
Sold out crowd.
In a sold out, packed arena in South Carolina and Columbus. It's the biggest game of the year. They're going to have to handle their emotions with that. And also, can their bench be able to hold it down whenever the starters are out? Because when South Carolina's bench starters come out and the bench comes in, that's where most of their production comes from. Most of their production comes from their bench. It's insane. I mean, half of their points, half of their total points scored this year come from their bench. Wow. It's insane. So LSU has got a tall task ahead of them. Their bench has a massive, massive test this Sunday when they go on the road to South Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, wow, kudos to you to get those numbers. Those are great. That's some good insight into the game.
Yeah, it blew my mind because I honestly thought LSU was deeper. I thought South Carolina starters would have the edge, and then LSU's bench would have the edge because of what I was just seeing as an outsider looking in at the numbers. And then you really dive deep into the numbers. You're like, holy cow, it's LSU starters that have the edge, and it's South Carolina's bench that has the edge.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I mean, that'll definitely play a huge factor into the game is South Carolina sounds like they can stay fresh.
Yes.
More so than LSU. And Zach, to bring up another side of the game, the biggest matchup by far are the two Wooden Award watch list players.
Yeah.
Aaliyah Boston and Angel Reese. That is going to be a lot of fun to see. To be quite honest, I don't think Angel Reese is going to be too worried about continuing her double-double streak. Will it be awesome if she does? Absolutely. But I think a win against South Carolina in South Carolina to take the number one spot in the country is a little bit more on the forefront of her mind. So that will be something to watch for, Zach. This is easily the most hostile environment that they will be in all season long. I mean, let's be real, Zach. Other teams have not really expected to have a chance when playing LSU. So when LSU has gone on the road, they're playing in front of some really, like
a spotty crowd.
People's spotty crowds. I mean, I saw what the Coliseum in Tuscaloosa looked like when the boys were playing compared to when LSU women's were playing. Massive difference. I mean, LSU is going to walk into on Sunday what Tennessee walked into on Monday, on that one, was it Monday? That one Monday
I think it was a Monday night. Yeah.
when Tennessee played in Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
That's what
On Monday night.
we're into. It is. This game has been sold out for like 3 weeks or more.
Yeah.
Like, this is by far going to be the biggest crowd that they're going to play in front of, the most hostile crowd they're going to play in front of all year long. How will they handle it? I mean, all year long, the big crowds that they've been in front of has been their own team, like their own fans. They've been on their side. It's going to be really, really interesting to see how they handle a very, very, very hostile environment Sunday in South Carolina. I really think, Zach, I brought this up to kind of discuss this a little bit. I said the biggest matchup is Aaliyah Boston against Angel Reese. I am curious, will LaDazia Williams be matched against Aaliyah Boston rather than Angel Reese? Because, to be completely honest, LaDazia is your best defender on the court.
Yes.
By far. And she's an inch taller than Angel is. So what do you make of that? Do you think it'll be LaDazia?
I mean, obviously Aaliyah Boston is their best player, and you want your best defender on their best player. I think it would be very smart of Kim to make that matchup. And then if you do that, we'll see how they set up on defense. Maybe Aaliyah ends up guarding LaDazia, and if that's the case, then I really like Angel's chance of who she matches up. I do want to make a point because you brought up that matchup, and we've mentioned this. Sometimes it feels like Angel Reese is pushing, and trying to do too much with something that's not there. She has to be extremely careful in this game of doing that because of the situation. I mean, there's a lot riding on the line. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of emotions coming into this game. It's obviously hyped up. So, she's going to have, and we know, we love her passion and for the game. I mean, she has a massive passion for the game. Absolutely. She has an awesome drive, but sometimes that can hurt you because you can push and do things that aren't smart basketball plays and aren't playing to the system. So, that's just something that we need to watch for as well.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Zach. So I want to get your prediction, and then we will get to some comments, and then we need to move forward to our last segment here. We're kind of behind on time. So what is your prediction for South Carolina?
Oh, gosh, man. I honestly don't know. I've been saying that I feel like, South Carolina is going to win. I want to go with the Tigers because they've played so well this season, and they have, obviously exceeded expectations. And I said it on Blake's show the other night that this is going to show us whether or not LSU can hang with the big dogs. I mean, we're going to quickly find out. Even if they lose, if it's a close competitive matchup, then, I'm happy going away because I know that LSU will be able to compete in the tournament against the big dogs. So I'm interested to see how the game goes and how well they compete. Do I believe they can win? Yes. I fully believe that they can win this game. But really it's going to come down to the bench, as we discussed. I think South Carolina has an edge here because of it being on their home court. I'm going to pick LSU to win, though, just because I want to.
Okay. Well, since you did that, yeah, I'm gonna take South Carolina. As much as I hate to do it, I just think they're a little bit more established than LSU is.
Very true.
It's going to be the first true road test for the Tigers this year. I think it does affect them a little bit. I think it's a close game. I do think it's a close game. But I think Dawn Staley having the program the way they have for several years now, are going to get it done against the Tigers. I hope that I'm wrong. I'm pulling for the Tigers, obviously, but that is my prediction based on everything analytically.
Well, hey, Ryan gave us some good notes here. He said, "Stay out of foul trouble, make a high percentage of free throws." I'm with him there because LSU struggle with free throws. The other thing is, don't turn the ball over because they have had some issues turning the ball over here as of late. He also predicts LSU wins 64-61.
Okay.
Now, I did want to ask you this, Reagan. How much does the entire week off affect, their play? And obviously, South Carolina just played last night. I mean, I know it wasn't really much of a game. They dominated, but they still had to get ready for that game, prepare for that game, play that game, go through the physical and mental, just drainage of that game. But, how much does it affect? Does it affect it at all?
I don't know if it does. I don't really think it does. I think bye weeks, are more crucial for a very physical contact sport like football.
Yeah.
In terms of basketball, I don't know if it affects it as much. I'm sure it does in some way. I'm sure it does. Because you have a routine and you're in a flow when you're not, on bye week. Maybe there's a little lag from the bye week. We'll see. Maybe there's a boost from the bye week. We'll see. So I don't know.
You're going South Carolina.
Say it again.
But you're going with South Carolina.
I am going with South Carolina.
Per Ryan.
That's fine. That's fine. That's okay. I deserve it. I want to pick the Tigers, but if I'm going to make a prediction and be true to myself, I really do think South Carolina is going to win. But I hope they don't. I hope I'm wrong. So, all right, Zach, is that all the comments, or is there more we need to get to?
No, we're going to take a quick break, and then we will be back to discuss the lineup for LSU baseball in the 2023 season. We'll be back right after this.
5-Star Hero, your intro and outro music for the Tigers Avenue show. They ain't ready for that LSU. Go check out all his other music on all the major platforms. Don't forget to follow him on Instagram at Saints Anthem and at Twitter at One Nation Doty. Don't forget to check out his Facebook page for all his Saints and LSU merchandise. Can't get any better than Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law. Her firm focuses on the needs of the elderly and maintaining their dignity throughout the process. Here for you, here for your family. Sarah Klein Stevens, attorney at law.
All right, right back at it. Zach, this week in the baseball preview, doing the batting order. So we've covered outfield, infield, traders, tomatoes. Oh, okay. I get it. I know. And you can boo me all. Look, I will be. You can gladly throw tomatoes at me and boo me all day long if they beat them Sunday. You can rag me. You can drag my name through the mud, and I'll be right there doing it with you. Okay, I will shame myself, and I'll be super happy the Tigers won though. All right, so we've covered the outfield. We've covered the infield. Next week, we'll cover catchers, pitchers. Really looking forward to having Demui on. Zach, I mean, again, I just have to give him a little promo. You got to go follow Zach. You say the name. You always get it.
60-foot, 6-inch LSU pod.
There you go. Go follow him. He's at the scrimmages. He's watching the games.
Yes, definitely.
He's giving you insight. Little tidbit tonight from Demui, Zach. He said we might have seen the potential lineup in the field tonight. All of the usual suspects that you would expect. The three positions, he said, the three positions.
At your second and other outfield position.
And the other outfield, they had Paxton Kling in right. They had Jack Merrifield at second.
Mm-hmm.
and they had Milazzo behind the dish.
Interesting.
Potential starting lineup was out there tonight. So go check out Demui's Twitter for some information like that. So, Zach, batting order. What are we thinking in terms of how he's going to put a loaded batting order like this year together? How's it going to play out?
Dude, I'm honestly having a struggle with this. I think honestly, like 5 through 8, I'm gonna need some help with. Because I think the catcher, whoever the catcher is, will probably be sitting at the 9 hole. Maybe you put them at the 8 or the 7 hole and try to get somebody better in the 9 hole to flip over the rotation. But we're gonna see. I have contemplated whether or not I want to see Dylan Cruz lead off. I'm having trouble because you really love what Dylan can do, behind the plate. Obviously he can go yard. Obviously he is a, just phenomenal hitter. So, do you want him somewhere in the 3 or the 4 hole, or do you want him at leadoff? Ultimately what I've decided is, it's going to be his last year. I think he needs to hit in the 3 or the 4 hole. I think you lead off with somebody like Josh Pearson. I think Josh Pearson would be a good leadoff spot. Then go to second. Somebody like Trey Morgan, maybe Jordan Thompson. Maybe I have a feeling Jordan Thompson will be more later down in the lineup, probably like 5, 6, 7. Obviously, I think the DH, whoever the DH is, I think it's going to be. If the DH is Braden Jobert, Paul Skeens, they're going to hit in the 4 or the 3 hole. So other than that, Reagan, I honestly do need your help.
Okay.
Because I honestly don't really know. So why don't you give me your lineup, and then maybe I will, based off your lineup, I'll either say, yeah, I agree with that, or I can see this going this way.
So I'm really kind of going a different direction.
Okay.
I got Dylan Cruz leadoff.
Hey, like I said, either way, I'm having a hard time deciding.
I have got Dylan Cruz as the leadoff, just solely because number one, he can get on base, or number two, he can open your game up. With a score immediately. We know he can go yard at any moment. Dylan Cruz is my leadoff guy because he can start your game with giving you the lead, or at least getting on base. I think he is an amazing leadoff hitter. Now, if we didn't have some guys like last year, I liked Dylan Cruz as the leadoff, but not as much last year. This year, with the power we have and the batting order that we're going to have this year, put Dylan Cruz at 1. I got Trey Morgan 2.
I agree with you there. 100%.
I got Trey Morgan 2. Dylan Cruz can lead your game off with a home run, and then Trey Morgan can come right behind him and slap an opposite field base hit, because I think he hits opposite field more than he does pull.
And then you're sitting at 1 and 3 at first and third, no outs.
Exactly. So I got Trey Morgan 2.
Who's the 3 spot? I think Tommy White is going to be in the 3 or 4 spot as well.
That my question is, because the DH is going to change this year. I don't think we're going to have a very consistent. Well, I think we will have a consistent DH, but I think it's going to be a few different guys like Joe Air, Paul Skeens, Peloso, maybe Gavin
Dugas
a little bit. Maybe Gavin Dugas gets in there a little bit. If it's Paul Skeens, I'm going. Whoa. If it's if it's Paul Skeens, I'm putting him. Oh man,
I told you, bro.
Yeah, Paul Skeens, I'm going 4.
Yeah, I would too.
Going 3. So we got Dylan Cruz, Trey Morgan, Tommy White, Paul Skeens. If it's Joe Bear, I'm gonna go Joe Bear 4, Tommy or
I'd put Joe Barrett 4 too.
Joe Bear. Yeah, let's just go Tommy White 3.
I think Tommy White's a 3-hole hitter.
I'm okay with that. So, I mean, literally,
DH is going to be. I think DH you put in the cleanup spot.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I can.
Now, if it's below then maybe I go somewhere different.
Okay. Right now, I'll say our DH, probably mostly Paul Skeens, Joe Bear. I'm going to go 4, Tommy White 3. 5, I'm going Josh Pearson. I like what Josh Pearson does. I think he keeps the batting lineup moving.
I'm good with that. I think maybe Josh Pearson gets a look at leadoff if Dylan does not. I could also see Josh in the 3-hole.
I would consider also putting Josh down like
low
7 just to have someone to keep the lineup moving, which I think this lineup can keep moving.
It'll keep moving.
So I got Josh Pearson batting 5th. I think Paxton Kling is going to be our second baseman. So I have him.
You mean our right fielder or our other outfielder? Paxton. You said Paxton Kling.
Oh, Paxton Kling. I think Paxton Kling is going to be our other outfielder, whether it's left or right. I think he's going to be. Let's see. I got Josh in the 5th, right? I think Paxton, you're 6. Where am I?
Jordan Thompson at 7.
What else am I missing?
Catcher,
and second, and Jordan Thompson. Okay. I'm gonna go second base, Jack Merrifield, at 7, Jordan Thompson 8, catcher 9.
Yeah.
I think you're. I
honestly think though that 6 through 9 could be really flexible, like flip flopping them. You know, whether it's hey, let's try and get something a little bit later in the lineup to help turn it over, or you just go straight. Here's our lineup. We're gonna end on our worst hitter. I think either like I could see Thompson hitting 6. I could see him hitting 7th, 8th. I could see him hitting 9th. Honestly, because Thompson is a great 9-hole hitter.
Yeah, he would be.
He'd be a great 9-hole hitter.
He would be. So I may change that up a little. So I got Dylan Cruz lead off, Trey second, Tommy White, DH cleanup, Skeens, Joe Bear. I had Josh Pearson at 5, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to move Jack Merrifield, second baseman, to 5. 6, Kling. 7, Josh Pearson. No, I'm going to put Pearson at 6, Kling 7, Thompson 8, catcher 9. Yeah, I like that.
All right, I've now that we've talked about it, I've decided.
Go ahead.
Pearson at leadoff.
Okay.
Trey at second. Cruz at 3rd. White at cleanup. DH at 5th.
Wow, that's
DH at 5th. Merrifield at 6th. No, I'm sorry. Kling at 6th. Merrifield at 7th. Who am I missing? I'm missing
Catcher and Thompson.
Pearson.
No, catcher and Thompson. Pearson's your leadoff.
Yeah, sorry.
You're missing Jordan Thompson, the catcher.
Catcher at 8, Jordan Thompson at 9.
Okay.
I really like the idea of. Oh, hey, look, and I was looking at these. Look, Tyler agrees with me. Thompson at 9. I really like the idea of Jordan Thompson in the 9 hole. So yeah, that's it. I got it.
Here's the thing. Here's why I put Thompson at 8. Because if it's Brady Neal at 9
It's dangerous.
it is a home run threat and could flip your lineup over probably just as good as Thompson could.
If it's Brady Neal, I think Brady Neal would be higher in the lineup.
Milazzo, it's not
than 9th. If Milazzo's in, he's 9th or 8th.
Which I'm perfectly fine at keeping Brady Neal at the 9 hole. That's why I like the catcher either way at 9. Because I think Brady Neal can, at the 9 spot, give you power and the ability to flip the line.
I get that. I'm sticking with Thompson at 9, bro. I like it. Josh 1, Trey 2, Cruz 3, White 4, DH 5, Kling 6, Merrifield 7th, catcher at 8, Thompson at 9.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm happy with it.
And my final was Cruz, Morgan, White,
DH,
Skeens or Joe Bear. I had Merrifield 5, Pearson 6. I had Kling 7, Thompson 8, catcher 9. Yeah. There's our predictions. Honestly, Zach, I don't care if I'm right or wrong.
Yeah,
like,
it's dangerous.
Is very flexible, and you can go a lot of different ways with this lineup. I mean, you really can.
I think they're going to tinker with it to find out, what's the best way to keep us hot and keep us going.
Absolutely, I agree. You you have a lot of options, and of course, different people could enter the lineup, and that could change the way that you look at it. If Ben LaPolt is your second baseman, your second baseman,
leadoff,
he could be your leadoff,
yes,
or he could very easily be your 3 because the on-base percentage is so high. Then you put a cleanup guy behind him. Then you're looking at a guy who can get on base and then have someone behind him who can put the ball out of the park. Yeah. So, that's going to fluctuate depending on who is. So this is the plethora of riches that LSU had this year, that this lineup can look multiple ways. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited.
Let me tell you, Reagan, look, this season, if you're not an LSU baseball fan or you haven't been watching LSU baseball, this is the season to start. Look, I got a buddy of mine. His name's Noah. He's an LSU fan, and he hasn't really watched LSU baseball. I'm going to get him. He's going to be watching some LSU baseball with me this season.
Shame on him.
I know. It's okay. We're gonna fully immerse him into LSU baseball.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, so before we end, I do got to ask this. So we talked about lineup, but in regards to the lineup, what do you want to see out of this lineup this year? There was some issues because we didn't really steal bases a lot this past year. We didn't bunt a whole lot this past year. I mean, this is a very, like it was last year, it looks to be a very guerrilla ball type lineup. Do you want to see that kind of be more complex this year?
I always hated when Paul Maneri would play the small ball because I feel like there's a place for it, but I feel like Maneri overplayed small ball sometimes, so I kind of got sick of it every now and then. So I'm okay with how we've been playing it lately. I would like to see the bases stolen a little bit more. I think that had to do with injury last year. I think Trey Morgan
was hurt. Trey Morgan was hurt.
So I think we see more of it this year. I really do. But I do want to see more stealing. In terms of bunting, I'm okay with, if you got a guy second base,
no outs,
bunt him,
sacrifice him over.
I'm fine with that. Especially if you got a speedy guy up to the plate, sure, go for it. But anyway, in terms of bunting, I don't care. But stealing, I do want to see a little bit more of. But I do want to see consistent bottom half production. I want to see bottom half production.
Yeah. So, question: does this LSU team break the 1997 home run record?
What is the record again? Remind me of it. It's 100
Oh
and
gosh, now you put me on the spot.
it's 184, or is that way too much?
I'm looking at it now. It's 100. It's a large number. Somebody may know. If y'all know, throw it in the
Put it
comments.
in the comments. This is a shame that we don't know this off the top of our head.
188 home runs.
Oh man, I was 4 off. I said 184.
188.
188.
Yes.
I'm
And
gonna say,
you play how many games in the regular season? 42.
woo,
Isn't it 42 games in the regular season?
I believe so.
188 divided by 42. We're doing math tonight. Oh my gosh.
I don't think it's happening.
That is average. 188 home runs. That is averaging almost 4.5 home runs a game. 1997, there were some dogs.
There's some dogs out there. Yeah, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no.
All right. Yeah, that's gonna be really tough. That's averaging 4.5 home runs a game. That seems almost impossible.
Yeah, I don't know. I would love to say we have the potential, but I don't foresee that happening. I just don't. So
Hey, it was worth the question.
well, there's our lineup, our lineup predictions. Again, I think both of us would agree that this is flexible and we could see it in many different ways. Guys, Paul Skeens. The movie is going to be on with us next week to discuss pitching. Please be here for that.
It'll be at noon.
It is going to be at noon, Friday night, opening night,
Friday night.
noon Friday. It's going to be opening day,
Day.
At noon, and Demouy is going to be on the show, guys. I promise you, you want to hear Demoui's insight. You're going to love it. So be here for that show to hear that. We're going to hit Zach. You got something?
We're also launching the LSU 2023 hype video.
Yes, the hype video. Be here for it. Be here for it. It's going to be an awesome show. Really looking forward to it. It's going to be great.
Can't wait.
Opening day.
I cannot wait. Opening day. Demoui's coming on the show, and we're launching the hype video.
It's going to be great.
Y'all share it. Tell everybody about it. We want y'all here Friday at noon. If you can't be here Friday at noon, then watch it later that night. I think we lost Reagan. That's okay. Let's take a quick break as we try to get Reagan back. Okay, he's back. We're going to take a quick break anyways, and then we will be back shortly.
Make sure you go follow us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Tigers Avenue, for daily updates on the show and all things LSU sports. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to click off and hit that subscribe button at Tigers Avenue. We broadcast all of our shows live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
All right, guys, we're back to wrap things up here. It's been a great show here tonight in the Tigers Avenue. We appreciate all y'all commenting and interacting. Y'all been great tonight. Thank you, Ryan, as always. Tyler, AD, if I forgot anybody, please forgive me. We appreciate all y'all joining in here and also putting up with our technical difficulties. Obviously, a little bit of a different setup tonight. So we appreciate y'all putting up with it. Always a great time hanging out with you guys, discussing LSU. Really pumped for next weekend and opening weekend for the LSU baseball team. So y'all join in Friday at noon. Paul Demouy. Why do I keep saying Paul Demouy? Demouy will be here. I got Paul Skeens on my mind is what it is. Looking forward to hearing what he's got to say about Paul Skeens. That's what it is. All right, guys. Looking forward to Sunday as well. Hopefully the Tigers can pull it off in Columbia, Columbia, South Carolina. Really looking forward to it. It's going to be great. More important than the Super Bowl, obviously, because the Bengals aren't playing and the Saints aren't playing. So none of us really care about the Super Bowl. We care about what's going on with Kim Mulkey and the Lady Tigers. So Appreciate all y'all joining in. Y'all have a good night. We'll catch you next time. 5-Star Hero, take us out. Peace.
That